Hey guys, it's Zoe. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to be talking about why I receive monthly IVIG infusions and also the diagnosis along with that, and kind of a little bit about my story with CVID. So if you don't know me, welcome to my channel. My name is Zoe. I am almost 23. I act, I do a little bit of modeling, but I also suffer with some chronic illnesses, which I try not to let define me, but some days, it's just a bad day. But yeah, I talk about my life on here. I talk about acting and I don't know, welcome to my channel. But yeah, so basically I was diagnosed with common variable immune deficiency. That stands for CVID. And it is considered a rare disease. It is something that I will probably have long-term, meaning the rest of my life. And let me get into what that is, and then I'll tell you about my diagnosis, if that makes sense. Also, please ignore my eyebrows. They are not twins today, and I just look a mess, but that's okay. Excuse me, kind of getting over a cold, but yeah, so common variable immune deficiency is an immune disorder. By the way, I'm not a doctor or an immunologist or allergist. I'm just basing this off of my knowledge because I have this illness. So anyways, hypogammaglobulinemia is what CVID is, or what my type of CVID is. So basically, it's an immune disorder, immune dysfunction, immune disease, whatever you want to call it. And it means that, so you have different subclasses of your immune system. You have IgA, IgG, other ones that I forget the names of. But IgG is what I'm deficient in. So how you treat your deficiencies with immune therapy is you get IVIG most of the time. IVIG is an infusion that you do either weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever your doctor decides you need. And also, some people with this disease don't do infusions. Maybe they're not, how do I put this? Maybe they're not like bad enough or sick enough to do the infusions, and some people just don't want to do them, which is okay. I've definitely been through my share of not wanting to do them. But yeah, so it can show up in any age. It is hard, it can be hard to diagnose because not a lot of people will test your immune levels unless you're showing signs or symptoms. It's not like it's detectable in regular blood work most of the time. It's kind of like a specific subclass of blood work. And so how I treat this disease is I do monthly infusions of a medicine called HyQvia. And HyQvia is a type of immunoglobulin, and that is what I am deficient in. And it can help you with other categories too, but I have CVID in the form of a low IgG, which means I can get sick easy. A cold, which I'm getting over right now, it can turn into pneumonia. I try to stay clean, wash my hands, have my friends wash my hands, but strep throat, ear infections, you're more high risk. Sorry if you hear my neighbors upstairs. You're more high risk for things like sepsis and things like that. But when you do treat the disease with the IVIG monthly, either through a port, which is what I used to have, that's what that scar is from, or a PICC line, or an IV, or subcutaneous, which is what I do. So I do little needles every month. And I'll do a video on that sometime, but I do an infusion every month. It lasts about 2.5 hours. I have a home nurse, and basically we put the needles into my belly or a fatty part of your body. Some people do their arms. I found that my stomach is just easier for me and it's not as painful. Yeah, so you pick a subcutaneous tissue. There's 2 little needles, very small, not into a vein. You go into the fat and it gets absorbed throughout a few days. And you will have a little bit of a bump, but that's okay. It's worth it. It's like liquid gold. There are side effects to the infusions. Sometimes people get a headache, or they get nauseous, or they get skin site, like IV site, IV. They get needle site, infusion site, like reactions. So sometimes you pre-treat with Benadryl or Tylenol. Basically, I'm 22. I was born extremely premature. I was 2 pounds, 11 ounces. excuse me, and I always had ear infections. I always had strep throat. I was always getting swimmer's ear and just like little things that we didn't really, I had asthma. We didn't really tie it into anything except when I got bit by a Lyme disease tick, and I got Lyme disease from that tick. I was about 14. My asthma started getting uncontrollable. I was being intubated. And during one of my intubations, they tested my titers, I forget how to pronounce it, for blood work, for my immunizations. And they pulled my mom aside at the hospital while I was intubated and pick you, and they were like, ma'am, no judgment, but do you believe in vaccinating your daughter? And she was like, yeah, Zoey's vaccinated for everything. And they were like, okay, well, we gotta get into this. We gotta look into this. But at the time, they didn't look into it because my body wasn't holding reactions to vaccines anymore, meaning I was very susceptible to things. And we didn't really think much of it because I had been on prednisone for long term. So they said, okay, we'll reevaluate in 6 months, which we did. And my lung doctor was kind of puzzled. She said, okay, well, it's still there. It could be prednisone, it could not be. I'm gonna send you to a rheumatologist, which deals with autoimmune diseases and things. She looked at my blood work and she says, you need to see immunology. Immunology is people who deal with infectious diseases and things. And she referred me to them, and he basically sat me down for an hour and a half in my mom. And he said, he was very honest. He went over all of my history, with everything. And I had been running a fever for a long time. I had been sick. I had doctors telling me I was just depressed. But depression doesn't cause fevers. You know, there were things just not adding up. And so when we saw the immunologist, he was very honest. Like I said, he kind of told me a little bit about what he thinks I have and what he basically knows I have based off of blood work. My IgG, my immunoglobulin level, which by the way is from blood donors, so donate blood. It's like part of the blood. When you donate blood, you get certain things from it, and that's also what my infusions consist of, is blood donor plasma and IgG. Basically, my IgG levels were that of a toddler or a newborn baby at 14 or 15 years old. And he was concerned that I might have leukemia or something kind of underlying. And so I didn't know this till later on in life, a few years later, but he actually pulled my mom into the hallway and said, if you get a call from oncology, we will be here every step of the way. And my mom remembers, I just scratched myself. My mom remembers that, and she felt this comfort knowing that somebody was listening to me and to her because I'm her daughter, you know? But there was also that fear attached to what the heck is going on with my kid. And my mom, you know, we started the infusions. I started doing them in the hospital, but then I got a port and I wasn't really tolerating the infusions too well. So now I do them at home. And it's been a wild ride. I mean, I get pneumonia. I got my tonsils out, my adenoids out. But I'm susceptible to a pneumonia, bronchitis, infections. When I get a cold, it starts to attack my lungs with my asthma. But basically, CVID to me is, you know, the medicine does help blood work, but when I'm off of the medicine, the infusions, which again is from blood donors, when I'm off of these infusions, I can tell I start to get sick again. I start to get sicker, things kind of linger longer, just like this cold that I've had for a week and a half. And it can travel pretty quickly to other parts of my body, like my lungs, which are already susceptible because I have scar tissue from chest tubes and things, and lung collapsing and all that scarring and stuff, and asthma. But basically, moral of the story is that's my CVID spiel. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I know a lot of people are curious as to what I suffer with. And I don't like to say suffer, but I mean what I'm battling, maybe. It is something that I'll probably have the rest of my life. Maybe I'll be able to stop the infusions, but every time I stop the infusion, whether it's on purpose or I get sick and I'm in the hospital and I can't get the infusion, my numbers drop. My blood work shows that my IgG is low. So, you know, I used to really hate these infusions, but but I'm very grateful that I have health insurance that covers it, and that my family is so supportive, and that I have great doctors, because without that, I would not be here. You know, sepsis and things like that are very serious, and you can die from infections, honestly. And, you know, during COVID, the peak of COVID, I was told by my doctors, you cannot go out. Like, if you get COVID, girl, you better be careful, because we don't know what to tell you, you know? But yeah, as far as right now, how I feel with my CVID is, I am low IgG right now, because I did miss a couple of infusions while I was in the hospital with double pneumonia and just with all the craziness going on. And I can tell when I start to miss it. So I'm going to be doing that again on Monday. So, but yeah, if anybody has any questions about CVID or hypogammaglobulinemia or IVIG infusions, they also do IVIG therapy for people who don't have CVID. It's like, what's it called? People, I think, with certain types of cancers can do this infusion too. I'm not really sure. But basically, I just know that I have a weakened immune system and I need to be careful. And, you know, CVID is not the end of the world, but I need to take care of myself and be managed and careful, and also live my life as a 22-year-old. I'm almost 23. I'm 23 on Thursday. But yeah, that's my TED Talk on CVID. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, definitely comment down below, and please subscribe. It would mean the world to me. It'd be perfect in time for my birthday. So yeah, have a great day, and talk to you guys later.